right, how's that? Much better? All right, let's switch. Okay, well, I would love to have a fun talk for you today, but managing out is hard. It is one of the difficult aspects that a manager may be asked to do when you have to let someone go. It is tough, and yet it is often the best thing you can do for your team, the business, and sometimes even the person being managed out. I struggled with this early in my career. I didn't know what I was doing. I tried to be nice, and I ended up sugarcoating criticism, and it led to a painful ending. Years later, I learned to do this in a humane and authentic way, where it became clear to all that it wasn't working out. My journey of managing others started 16 years ago, and it spanned from a small organization with no HR, where basically I was the main one running everything, to larger companies where I had plenty of support. Today, I'm going to share how I've managed out. My goal is for you to feel less anxious about the process and be equipped with a new perspective and tactics to make it easier. So why do we manage out? We actually had a wonderful talk about spinning up teams and spinning them down. And so building an effective team is your job. We mainly think of this, of course, through hiring and growing our people, but managing out is just as important when something's not working on a team. This is a process where you find someone who's not a fit for your team and you formally move them off the team, usually through termination, though it could be moving to another team if the fit is for a reason that way. The key word is fit, though, as this isn't a value statement of someone's worth or ability. It's about them not fitting what this team needs. It may also be that the team is not a fit for them. Fit goes both ways. I've seen engineers thrive on one team and struggle on another. So how do we do it? For that, we have to go back to the start. Managing out with kindness can only happen when we've invested in our relationships. I break it down into these building blocks. Turns out these also are the same building blocks you use to bring out the best in your directs. The first is a foundation of trust. My approach is to be authentic and hold regular one-on-ones where I build rapport. I want to connect, to understand them better, how they're doing, and how I can help them. I've learned that it's best to talk less and listen more. Be curious, ask questions to learn, be open to who they are and their lived experience. Without trust, things get dramatically harder. I recall a situation where a manager and their direct did not have trust. They misheard each other and stopped talking directly about the issues. It fell into dysfunction until it led to a messy and hostile end. With trust in place, your direct will be more receptive to feedback and likely to work with you to improve. The next block is setting expectations. This is the basis for success in the role. It provides clarity for what a direct should be striving for and is your North Star when giving feedback. I've read studies where half of managers didn't properly set expectations. Without expectations, how will your direct know what success looks like? These two components, roles and responsibilities, and a career framework, play a critical role in defining expectations. Have written versions that you reference. Review them with your direct, ideally quarterly. If your company doesn't have a career framework, there are many online. I personally like to use Dropboxes. Our final block is accountability through feedback. As a manager, you play a key role in accountability. I like this definition that focuses on ownership of their actions and outcomes. The thing is, our directs want to do well and have impact. You holding them accountable is equivalent to keeping them on track, guiding them to be their best selves in the role. That brings us to the how of accountability. Providing feedback is the tool for guiding improvement. As engineers, we know how vital feedback is to improving our systems. It plays the same role in building healthy teams. Make sure to include positive and constructive feedback. People do best when they receive both kinds. What does effective feedback look like? It's specific, clear, and constructive. We give it continuously, never waiting for a performance review. Most importantly, it's kind but direct. There's an important distinction that being kind does not always mean nice. Delivering a tough message may not be nice, but it can be kind, and it's crucial to making improvements. Thanks to Kim Scott, we have the term ruinous empathy. That is where you care about someone, but fail to challenge them directly, such as being polite to avoid an uncomfortable situation, or sugarcoating criticism, like I did. Many of us struggle with ruinous empathy. We vow not to be a jerk. The thing is, if there's an issue, we're hurting them and our teams by not addressing it. How will they know that something needs to change unless we give them that feedback? Kim Scott covers this in great detail in her book, Radical Candor. I found it incredibly helpful, and I'd encourage you to check it out. Frameworks can help you get started. There are many out there, but I'll highlight one from Jill Wetzler. What I love about her approach is it covers all the key elements of effective feedback while including kindness. The first part is objective and covers the situation factually without judgment. The second is your interpretation, including the impact you are seeing and why that matters to you. Oftentimes, this will show up as a pattern of behavior. The third is our expectations, and powerful when you want to see change. Use the magic words, I expect, will send strong message. You can leave the section out if you're still in conversation mode, though. The final part is where we bring in kindness. Asking, how can I help does two things. One, it signals that you are willing to be a partner, and two, lets them decide if and how they would like help. You want your feedback to stick, so it's important to listen. Record action items for both of you on what you've agreed to do. Be clear if there are consequences. Schedule a follow-up to review their progress. Finally, send a recap email with all the details from your meeting. It's a pro move to write out the recap ahead of your meeting. It'll help you find the right words, and it doubles as written documentation. Another tactic I like to use is to debug the issue together. Imagine you're both sitting side by side with the issue in front of you. This is less confrontational than sitting across from each other. A practical way to do this when you're in a video call is to screen share a joint doc and pair on the issue together, letting them drive. Finally, we need to touch on the follow-through. When you meet in the follow-up session, did they address your concerns? If you don't hold them accountable, you send mixed signals on the importance of addressing your feedback. I know it's uncomfortable, but as soon as you see an issue, you need to bring it up. It is kind to have the tough conversation immediately. Your future self will thank you for not putting it off. How do you know when it's time to manage them out? Before I share my thoughts on when, we need to talk about the process. If you think there may be a performance or a fit issue, talk to your manager about what you're seeing and your concerns. They can advise you on how to proceed. Next is to partner with HR. They're the experts at this with a wealth of resources. They will help you navigate the situation. Though the process will vary by company, generally you can expect this will take at least 1 to 2 months and will include a PIP, or a performance improvement plan. Much of what I've described in the feedback process mimics a PIP. So, back to knowing when. You need to assess the impact. Are they improving as agreed to? Is the improvement fast enough? Is their behavior still hurting the team? There's no reason or no room to allow harmful behavior to continue. Don't underestimate how quickly an issue will drag down a team. You and your company also have a role to play. Much of what we have covered in our building blocks is about setting them up for success. They could have a valid point if any of these are insufficient. In my experience, dragging out the process did more harm than good. Once you're clear, move quickly. I won't cover the mechanics of termination, as HR will have that covered. Instead, I will go over focusing on ways we can make this kind. Make sure this is not a surprise. You've already done the hard work by giving them direct but kind feedback. It should be clear now to both sides it's not working out. Prepare for the conversation. Do not wing it. Write out your script ahead in a kind but direct fashion. State the decision at the start of the meeting. Thank you for their contributions and honor the good they've done. Please do not treat this like a normal meeting in your busy day. When you schedule the conversation, block off time afterwards to process, such as taking a walk outside. Be kind to yourself and plan for some self-care after work. Finally, some parting thoughts. Have some grace with yourself, as this is hard and uncomfortable. At the same time, we often make this scarier than it really is. I found in many of these cases that moving on was better for all in the end. No one wants to be in a situation where they're not their best selves. I hope this talk has given you some new perspective and some tactics to feel more comfortable if you need to manage someone out. Please seek me out in office hours if you have any questions or want to talk. Thank you.